Hey guys, welcome to Psalm 139. Who does not love this psalm? What I love about reading his word is that every time we read his word, if we come to it ready to receive fresh manna, he gives it to us. So honestly, this week I was blown away by the message that he gave to me over Psalm 139 this week. So let me just kind of get you into my thought process with a broom. So starting out, it starts out in verse 1 from the Passion Translation that you know everything about me. It goes into verse 2. Then you perceive every movement of my heart and soul. So not even these like just these nuances, every movement of my heart and soul. You understand my every thought before it even enters my mind. He knows where I'm going and what I'm thinking before I even know what I'm doing and what I'm thinking. You're so intimately aware of me, Lord. 3 and 4. You read my heart like an open book, and you know all the words I'm about to speak. Just reiterating that verse 1 and 2. Even before I start a sentence, you know every step I will take before my journey even begins. So one, I just find that incredibly, incredibly comforting that he goes before us and he knows what I will do before I will do it. And if given the opportunity for the Holy Spirit to guide me and to tell me where to go and what to do and just guide me in what my mouth pays attention to, what my heart pays attention to. What a comforting thought that he goes before us. Um, I love verse 5. Verse 5 took my breath away. You've gone into my future to prepare the way, and in kindness you follow behind me to spare me from the harm of my past. How beautiful is that? He goes before us to prepare a way into our future. He knows everything that we're going to do, everything that we're going to say. In in the instance of Lisa, he knows every conceivable place that I can mess it up, and he goes before me. And this part is the part that I just love. This vision that he comes after, he follows behind, and he can clean up our mess because his he spares us from the harm of our past. With your hand of love upon my life, you impart a blessing to me. Not only does he clean up my mess, he imparts a blessing over me into my tomorrow, into my future. You know, again, it's no wonder that this is Christmas week, that we will be doing Psalm 139 into Christmas Day. And it is through the blood and the birth of a baby that he can come behind me and he can clean up my mess. How staggering is our God? Because I want to say to you today that the enemy would have you believe something different. The enemy would have you believe a completely different truth. The enemy would want you to believe that when you sin and you say, "My God, I am sorry," and you throw it into the ocean of his grace, that it can wash back up on your shore again, and you have to pick it up again, and you have to throw it back out into the sea of his grace and say, "My God, I am sorry." And then it's going to come back again. And in the sea of grace that the enemy wants us, this counter reality that the enemy wants us to buy into, in that counter reality, those sins can wash up on the shores of our hearts, our mind, on our memories, and we have to pick them up, and we have to offer our sorrow over them again. But the fact of the matter is that because a baby was born, and because our God took on human skin as his robes of royalty, and because the greatest thing that he wore as a king were shoes that had worn threadbare soles, that he walked on the earth and he touched and he loved and he saw. Because of that king that came into our world, when we throw our things out into the sea of the grace, it is forgiven. Literally, literally. He comes behind us to spare us from the harm of our past. Listen, there'll be consequences for my stupid choices. I will have to pay the consequences for the things that I do and the things that I consistently get myself into. But in terms of that emotional battle that we wage a war with, that battlefield that is in our mind, that Satan completely takes over and wants to remind and remind and remind and remind, that is already gone. The shame, the harm of your past is over. Give it to Him. It goes into the ocean, the seas of His grace, and it is forgiven. When the enemy brings that back up on our shore and back up on our shore and back up on our shore, and we come back to the Father again and we say, "My God, I am so sorry for this thing that I've done," He simply does not know what you're talking about. Because when it is forgiven, it is paid. The debt has been paid. If we continue to pay that debt and pay that debt and pay that debt and pay that debt, and we continue to go over that in our hearts and in our minds, and we just keep going and we just keep going with it, and we just don't let it go and know that the debt has been paid, then the enemy wins. So if there's something that keeps washing up on your shore, I have two questions for you. Have you already given it to God? Don't take it back. Leave it in His loving grace. He's already cleaned up behind you. There's nothing to clean up. If you haven't given it to the Lord, I would encourage you today to go before Him with a contrite heart, a humble heart, and just say you're sorry. Talk to Him about it. The Holy Spirit knows you. The Holy Spirit will guide that conversation, and then it is gone into the ocean of His grace. In verse 6, this thought, this fact, as we get ready to prepare our hearts for a baby, verse 6 says, "This is just too wonderful, deep and incomprehensible. Your understanding of me brings me a wonder and a strength." My prayer for us this Christmas of 2020, where so many things are wonky and upside down, is that we would be in awe of who He is and that His understanding of us is so deep that we would just be left in awe and wonder at this King of Kings that's coming into the world. Guys, have a Merry Christmas. Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. I will see you next week. Thanks, guys. Bye.